The most important element in your website is copy. I'm sorry if your feelings are hurt if you're a designer, but remember, a great designer is someone who can write copy that converts. In fact, research was conducted by Unbounce on 40,000 landing pages, and they found out that copy was 2 times as influential as design. So data has spoken and copy is actually king.
I am the king!
So let me share with you 6 tips to create great copy. The first tip is to understand your audience. Before you write any copy, you need to know your customers, so conduct interviews, surveys, polls, check out customer reviews of your product or of a similar one. Check out analytics if you're tweaking an existing website. Your goal here is to uncover their pains and struggles, understand why did they buy your product if they did, and if they didn't, what was holding them from buying it, what's the value they're seeking, and what are the benefits they value most. The second tip is to talk like a human. Jason Fried from Basecamp talked about something like this. He says that instead of saying, "We're sorry for any inconvenience this may have caused," just say, "I'm sorry." And as David Ogilvy said, your customers isn't a moron, she's your wife. And the same goes for your website. Eliminate any cringy corporate "we're building the next big thing" copy and say exactly what you're selling. And that brings us to the third tip, and that is be specific and clear. In the first few seconds on your website, the user must know exactly what you're offering. So you need to make an offer they can't refuse. And this has many components like what makes you special from your competitors, but before that they have to understand exactly what you're offering. And it has to be crystal clear. So avoid any jargon words that may confuse your customers. The fourth tip is to paint a picture. I learned from Frictionless e-commerce that 50% of the cortex, which is the surface part of the brain, is devoted to processing visual information. So try to paint a picture with your copy. For example, let's say your product is an app that makes your expense reports into digital ones. So you might use some words to agitate the problem, like a leaning tower of papers.
He paints quite a picture, doesn't he?
The fifth tip is to use the user's own words. Your website visitors will actually understand you much more if you talk their language. This is somehow common sense, right? But some common sense isn't so much common. In her CXL copywriting course, Momoko Price shares a case study of a pet door's website and showed how she increased the sales with mainly using the words that the customers used when describing what matters most in a pet door. So use the user's own words whenever possible. The final tip is to focus on benefits. And what I mean by this is that you should focus on what your customers will benefit from your product or services. So for example, for us as an agency, we say something like, create beautiful website that converts, instead of saying we provide interaction design and user research services. So these were the 6 tips to create great copywriting that converts for your website. Of course, there are more than 6 tips, so if you want to learn more about how to create a website that sells with persuasive design and copywriting, subscribe to the channel and see you next week.